Hey, what's up guys, it's Texamer talking to you here, and today I want to talk about the iPhone SE. Yes, the iPhone SE 3, that's the name that we are calling right now, but if you want my opinion, it will be called the iPhone SE 5G. But the iPhone SE, it will be refreshed this March. Actually, people are thinking that it will be released together with the iPad Air and M1 Pro and M1 Max Mac Mini on the March event, but I think that's unlikely. I do think Apple will release it on a press release closer to the event or even after the event. I don't think it will be a presence on this event because it's too boring and too of a shame for Apple to unveil it. But if it does, then it will be quite a thing to watch Apple try to promote and sell a 10-year-old design. But it will be funny, I know. I think that people, they don't give the importance that the iPhone SE deserves, because in my opinion, the iPhone SE 3 with 5G, it's going to be the most boring but the most important product for Apple in 2022. Because if you don't know, Apple actually has a dominant market share in US, in the UK, and even every developed country that has a lot of money and people can buy iPhones. Apple, it's one of the most, not the most best-selling phones there, because they have a lot of success. People like iPhones, it's a luxury item, and people like to buy iPhones. But in developing countries like India, China, or even Brazil, or North American, South American countries, the iPhone is very, very looked for. But they don't have the money to buy it. So they recur to older iPhones like the iPhone 7, iPhone 8. They prefer to buy those phones instead of buying the newest flagships from Android. So what Apple does is they create the iPhone SE for those people. And so that's where Apple wants to hit the hardest, so they can win more customers and so they can sell more Apple Music services or even Apple TV. So I think that's the strategy for Apple when creating the iPhone SE. It doesn't need to be good, it just needs to be cheap. And so in this video, I will tell you why it makes sense for Apple to release another iPhone SE this year, but why it makes also sense for Apple not to release it on an event. And if they do, I will laugh quite a bit. But no further ado, and before I roll the intro, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But like I told you, roll the intro. The iPhone SE, like I was telling you, is one of the best, not the best selling iPhones in those developing countries. Why? Because the iPhone SE is cheap, it has all of the same features, or 90% of the same features as the more expensive models, and they have an Apple logo. So yes, that makes a difference. People think that the iPhone is a luxury item, and so when you buy an iPhone, you are on top of other people that don't buy iPhones. And so on those developing countries, a lot of teens, a lot of people want to buy an iPhone just because it is an iPhone and it's made from Apple. And so if Apple can make the cheapest iPhone possible with the same specs, or at least the same processor CPU as the newer models, people will buy it, and they will buy it in bulk. And so that's Apple's strategy for this iPhone. In India, the iPhone SE, if they can produce it there, it will be way more cheaper than it actually is right now. So my Indian people, tell me in the comments down below, why the iPhone SE? Is it cheap? Is it not cheap? How much does it cost there, equivalent to dollars? And do you think that Apple can make it there, and how cheap it will be if they make it there? Try to make a comparison of the prices so people from the West can know. But of course, I think India is a very big market and a very important market for Apple to explore. They have a lot of customers there and people that want to buy an iPhone, but they don't have the possibilities to. So yes, Apple needs to make a cheaper iPhone. In my opinion, and I do recommend Apple to release this iPhone SE with the same design, with 5G, but try to make it a little bit cheaper. Try to make it $300, $299. So break that $300 mark for people in India, in Brazil, Argentina, and those South American countries where they are developing, they want to buy phones, they have money in their pockets, but they don't have enough money to buy the flagship phones, and so they recur to older phones when they do want to buy an iPhone. So put iPhone SEs in the hands of those people and they will be very, very happy. Although I do think that Apple needs to put MagSafe on this iPhone SE 3. That doesn't make any sense to support MagSafe. Try to make a design tweak where you put the MagSafe puck on the back, give it a little bit bigger battery so it can hold up the 5G modems, and please Apple, look out for those people, give it software updates, give it the A15 chip, make it the best deal as possible, but try to make it cheap. Keep the same design, keep the same assembly lines, and sell this phone as cheap as you can. Try not to make a lot of money on this phone, just try to get the biggest amount of customers support possible, because if you can get the most amount of customer support or the most amount of customer base, then you will sell more services. Again, the iPhone SE is not focused in giving you the best phone. It's not focused in giving you the newest and shiniest phone, the newest design, the best features, the best works. No, it's focused on being cheap and not being good enough. Because if the iPhone SE is cheap, like it is, and it's a little bit closer to the flagship models, then it will start cannibalizing the other phones. Because people are not dumb, they don't want to spend unnecessary money. And if they see the iPhone SE at $399 being a very good deal, having almost the same design, having almost the same camera, almost the same specs, right now it has the same chip. If it gets it, then people won't buy the iPhone 12 or iPhone 13s for $400, $500, $600. Doesn't make any sense. They can buy the iPhone SE, save a little bit of money, save $200, $300, and get 90% of the same experience. So that's why I think that Apple needs to make this iPhone good, but not good enough. So it's a very complicated phone and a very list of features to manage. Actually, Marquez did a great video on this when he was talking about the Pixel 4a, and yes, he also talked about the iPhone SE. It's very difficult to make a phone that is cheap, and you have to know where to compromise. And in my opinion, Apple compromises on the right spots. They are very smart when compromising. They do not compromise on the main camera, although they do compromise on the accessory cameras, like the ultra-wide and telephoto, that people do not use that often. Also, they compromise on the design. People are comfortable with what they have, and if you can give them the same old design that they can recognize that it is an iPhone, they will be happy. Now, if you give them an amazing CPU saying this is the same chip and the same processing power that we have on the flagship models, you have the Touch ID, you have a good LCD display, and you have Apple services like iMessage, FaceTime, and you will be having support for 5 years, then people will think, wait, I'm getting an iPhone, I'm getting Apple services, I'm getting Apple support, I'm getting the Apple logo, and I'm getting Touch ID, a good display, a very goodly built phone made of glass, aluminium, it feels premium in the hand, and it's very, very cheap. Well, that's a good deal, I will buy it. $399, here we go. And then they buy a case, they buy another accessories, and Apple gets their money. So yes, the iPhone SE is a cow of money for Apple. Of course, we tech people, we don't like the iPhone SE. It's very boring, it has an old design, it has older parts, it looks like 10 years ago, but the iPhone SE is very important in this market, and that's why I think that Apple will release this one, will try to promote it, but I don't think they will put it on an event. Normally the events are for more tech-savvy people, and by doing it, they will create a lot of bad headlines. Apple unveils a 10-year-old design on stage. I mean, that's why I think that Apple will release it on a press release, like they have been doing it with the iPhone SE in 2020, and it works very well, but it's time will tell if we will see it on the March event. Of course, the March event was confirmed by Mark Gurman. When I say confirmed, it's a leak, so take it with a lot of grain of salt. But Mark Gurman told us that the March event will be happening on the 8th of March, so less than a month, almost. So I'm very excited. So we are now in the 5th of March, in February, so maybe a month we will see the invites coming. So I'm very excited for the March event. iPad Air, M1 Pro and M1 Max Mac Mini. Couldn't be more excited. Of course, like I was telling you about the iPhone SE, if you get one, then I will laugh a lot. But the iPhone SE will be launched in the March timeline, and I think that a lot of people will buy it. I think that the iPhone SE is the reason that the iPhone Mini went well. When Apple released the iPhone 12 Mini, iPhone SE was released in 2020, months before, and a lot of people that wanted a small phone and cheap phone bought the iPhone SE. They preferred to spend $399 on a cheap phone and small phone than to spend $699 on a cheaper phone, but it also has the same new design. I think that the banger will be when Apple releases the iPhone XR-like design with the iPhone SE next year, which is rumored, and people will buy that phone like hotcakes, because I think with no bezel treatment and iPhone looking like the iPhone 10, which marked a lot of people as the new iPhone standard, they will sell a lot of phones. But I think that this iPhone SE with 5G, it's more of a refinement, it's more of a tuning in for you to get 5G, because people now are getting aware of 5G, especially on those developing countries and in the US. So when people are buying on the phones on their carriers, Apple wants to get all of their phones to say it supports 5G. Apple wants carriers to tell you, oh, why don't you get this iPhone SE? It supports 5G now, so you can buy it, it's cheap, and it's made from Apple. You can get all of your iMessage, you can get FaceTime, which is pretty cool, and that's why I think that carriers are very interested in Apple to release the iPhone SE in 2022, and that's the reason I think Apple will release it. It will have the same boring design, it will have 3 colors, red, black and white. Those are really neutral colors. Red is important because it differentiates the iPhone SE for those who want to, but a red, a black and a white, especially the white and black, those are very neutral, but I think they are very, very beautiful, and Apple needs to introduce MagSafe with his iPhone SE. It's very important that Apple starts supporting and expanding their MagSafe, because I think that by going with the iPad Pro having MagSafe, by going with the iPhone SE, they will put MagSafe in a lot of people's hands, and in the next 2-3 years they can get rid of Lightning and just support MagSafe on their devices. Of course, I mean, the iPhone SE, it's more of a way for Apple to cheap out on the phone design, not cheap out on the premium build quality. They just use all assembly lines that they have laying around to buy and to build these cheap phones so they can sell them very cheaply and then get their money back through services, or even get their money back through accessories like cases and other things. So yes, the iPhone SE, it's very important for Apple. Yes, the iPhone SE will be released on March, but no, I don't think it will be released on an event. But what are your opinions on the iPhone SE, especially the iPhone SE 3 that we will see with 5G? Let me know in the comments down below what's your opinion. Are you going to get one? Are you excited for the iPhone SE, or are you just bored out because you are a tech community guy? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're there, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel. We are more than 400 subscribers. Thank you for all your support. Don't forget to check out my new series on the channel, iPhones Past. I have a playlist link down below. You can watch it. My first episode was about the iPhone 5 in 2022. Let me know which phones do you want to see more on those episodes on the comments down below. This was Tech Summer Talk to you here. Bye.